Royal Rumble with the outcome that is very uncertain with all these rumored matches. There is the chance that Brock Lesnar could interfere in the match, allowing CM Punk to retain the title, or allowing The Rock to win the WWE Championship to build up for a WWE title match between The Rock and Brock Lesnar. Now, if you go back to the first match between The Rock and Brock Lesnar, there wasn't much detail. It was just based on the importance of winning the match and the preparation on the part of The Rock and Brock Lesnar as they took a look at their training regimens. There wasn't much in the way of a must-win situation for both superstars. There wasn't a particular stipulation on the match where The Rock or Brock Lesnar had to quit the WWE if they lost, similar to Cena and Batista from WrestleMania 26. I wanted to see something more in the way of detail for The Rock and Brock Lesnar, and I hope that's something we get with the part 2 of the feud if we see the match at WrestleMania 29, because I think that the first match had much left to be desired, and that's really what let me down. Like I said, it just seemed like the WWE knew The Rock was leaving the wrestling industry, so they just wanted to send him out by having him pass the torch to Brock Lesnar. And if you go back to the first match, that led me to believing that The Rock and John Cena's match from WrestleMania 28 earlier this year was not about The Rock passing the torch to John Cena, because the torch was already passed from The Rock to a superstar in the last 10 years, and that guy was Brock Lesnar when he became the youngest WWE champion in history. And you better believe that if The Rock and Brock Lesnar have a match at WrestleMania 29 for the WWE Championship, with John Cena going on to challenge The Undertaker the night after he wins the Royal Rumble, as opposed to facing either the WWE or World Champion, which is a prediction I hold the belief that one day we will see at a WrestleMania, if not this year. I think that we're going to get a lot of referencing of The Rock and Brock Lesnar's history to make the first part seem just as infamous as the second part to The Rock and Brock Lesnar's feud that goes over 10 years of history, to make it seem that much more important, because the first match had much left to be desired. You can bet Paul Heyman will be involved. We'll get a lot of Rock and Brock Lesnar promos involving Paul Heyman, and there's going to be a lot of in-ring segments involving The Rock and Paul Heyman, which will more than likely result in The Rock giving Paul Heyman the rock bottom, as he's done to other superstars, even Michael Cole in the past, hyping up for matches. I think that promos between The Rock and Paul Heyman would be great, because the promos would seem so genuine. That's one thing about Paul Heyman that I give him a lot of credit for, are the genuine promos he puts across to superstars. He did it for Triple H in 2012, and he's done it for superstars in the past, especially in the first half of Brock Lesnar's WWE career, when Brock Lesnar amounted to a 3-time WWE champion. Brock Lesnar really wasn't the guy to do a lot of the talking. He left the talking and the promos up to Paul Heyman. A good example of that is the post-SummerSlam promo that Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar gave to the WWE Universe after Brock Lesnar had seemingly ended the career of Triple H, forcing him to tap out to that deadly arm submission in that UFC-style match they had at SummerSlam 2012, which is speculated to have been the last match of Triple H. Paul Heyman even referred doing commentary in 2001 when he saw Triple H tear his quadricep. So I think that Paul Heyman, with how genuine his promos are, would really be a fantastic addition to a Rock Brock Lesnar Part 2 match, because he would refer to The Rock being a guy who's never really there, a guy who just came in and was handed everything on a silver platter, when people like Brock Lesnar and John Cena continuously have to earn things. The thing about Paul Heyman, even back in the early 90s when he created ECW and nobody took ECW seriously, his promos have always been so genuine. And the thing about The Rock's promos, not only are they comical, but they are also genuine. So we would get a genuinistic feud between The Rock and Brock Lesnar if we had Paul Heyman involved. And I'm hoping Paul Heyman sticks around with WWE if Brock Lesnar doesn't even come back, because they need a mind like Paul Heyman on the creative team. If you go back to 2002 until 2004, Paul Heyman was an incredible storyline writer for the SmackDown brand, and that was when we saw SmackDown giving us some of the most unpredictable storylines, with the Concrete Crib match, the Dudleys being a tag team that were being taken very seriously as main eventers, and you had so much going on between Brock Lesnar and Bill Goldberg and some of the storylines for WrestleMania 20. It was because of Paul Heyman lending a creative hand to the storylines, especially on SmackDown, that made WWE so unpredictable from about 2002 to 2004. Then he comes back for the re-emergence of ECW. ECW quickly became a WWE watered-down version from what it originally was, but in the first year and a half of ECW's reascension and emergence to the top of the professional wrestling business, ratings couldn't have been higher for either WWE or ECW, and ECW superstars were being talked about more than they were in the early 90s. WWE and ECW have always worked close together, but even in 2006, Paul Heyman, when he was given some creative control of his own brand for the first time in years, for a short time, mind you, but for a little bit of time, ECW was achieving the highest of success because Paul Heyman was there. And when Paul Heyman left the business, he took every ECW fan and every fan of every wrestler he had represented over the years, including Brock Lesnar, with him when he walked through the doors of WWE and was gone for a period of 6 years. He was gone a shorter amount of time than what Brock Lesnar was because he came back for the ECW reemergence. But I think that it was great, what Paul Heyman did, and I think that it would be wonderful in storylines that Brock Lesnar would be involved in for years like 2013 and 2014. I don't think Brock Lesnar is gone. He sent out a tout on his tout account, a 15-second tout, where he alluded to the idea of him conquering everything in the WWE, and there was nothing left for him to do, so he was going to leave and never return. I think we will see Brock Lesnar back in the WWE, and it could be with this upcoming match between The Rock and CM Punk, where Brock Lesnar will interfere, possibly screw CM Punk out of the WWE Championship, and we could have a scenario where The Rock and Brock Lesnar are both fan favorites, similar to the scenario we had for The Rock and John Cena Part 1, where the fan response was equally distributed, half for The Rock and half for John Cena. We could see half for Brock Lesnar and half for The Rock. And with how many rumored dream matches you guys have been putting out involving The Rock, I think WWE are really going to strive to hold on to The Rock more than they have, especially in the early thousands. In the early thousands, from about 2001 to 2002, they were doing everything for The Rock to attempt to hold on to The Rock in the way of a contractual obligation. And now they're doing even more. They're working out dates for The Rock to appear on editions of the Raw Super Show to represent the WWE as the champion, because that's one thing that a champion needs to do. He needs to make consistent appearances. He doesn't need to be wrestling all the time. You can even have a situation from the 90s where the champion would only wrestle about once a month and defend it at least once a month to apply to the whole 30-day must defend the championship at least once clause in the champion's contract. They can do something like that for The Rock. I think that would do an incredible amount of justice to the professional wrestling business and go a long way in restoring a little bit of credibility. The first bit of credibility that was restored was bringing back the original Intercontinental Championship and bringing back a little bit of credibility to the WWE title, where the champion only wrestles about once a month and defends the title once a month on pay-per-view, would be incredible. I think that would really give us a 1996-1997 feel to the WWE, and it would give fans a bit of a reprieve who are resorting to playing WWE 13's Attitude Era to get a feel for what the WWE once was from 1997 to 2000. One thing the new talented superstars, especially The Miz, always refer to The Rock about is it's not 1999 anymore. To me, The Rock is better than he ever was. In 1999, The Rock was in his prime and giving us incredible pay-per-view matches, but The Rock is about 3 to 4 times better than he was in 1999. His popularity has gone through the roof because a lot of his fans, at least 85% of The Rock's fans, remember him from his movie career, making movies like The Rundown and The Mummy, where he was the Scorpion King for a short amount of time, and the sequel to the role of him being the Scorpion King in The Mummy 2, the Scorpion King movie, which was the story of the Scorpion King. It was incredible watching The Rock both in the WWE, and the fans who watched him in the WWE carried their love for The Rock over to his movie career, and The Rock gained fans that he didn't have before, so it's really a combination of his movie career fans and his wrestling fans coming together to create this overwhelming support for The Rock. The ratings have never been higher since The Rock has been occasionally appearing for Raw Super shows and pay-per-views, and I think WWE are going to do everything they can to strive to hold on to The Rock to increase their ratings and the amount of publicity that they're receiving. Along with that, The Rock's movies are generating more dollar value than they ever have before, and I really don't believe The Rock just came back to promote his Twitter account. The Rock doesn't need WWE to promote his Twitter account. Brock Lesnar needs WWE more to promote his tout on Twitter than what The Rock does. The Rock has got fame outside of the professional wrestling business. That's why you don't see people like The Rock and Chris Jericho even on a regular basis in the WWE. They just kind of come in and out on a regular basis to let fans know that they're still around and they still have a love for the professional wrestling business. I think we will see Brock Lesnar again to promote things that he's got going on both for the WWE and outside of it, and the next time we see Brock Lesnar, he's going to be facing a superstar like The Rock, who he's already defeated. But the thing about the Rock-Brock Lesnar Part 2 match is, if it is to come into fruition, it's going to be based more on The Rock trying to get a bit of redemption for what happened to him in 2002, because that was the final match The Rock had as WWE Champion for over 10 years. That ended his 9th reign as WWE Champion, and to me, The Rock needs to kind of bury the issues he's had with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar always refers to himself as the guy who ended The Rock's final WWE Championship reign to become the youngest WWE Champion in history. It's incredible seeing Brock Lesnar's dominance in WWE. I will give him credit for that. I will also give him credit for not being afraid of anyone from The Undertaker to even Triple H from earlier this year. So I think that what we need is we need to reach a point of finality for The Rock and Brock Lesnar's feud. Not only The Rock and Brock Lesnar, but a lot of feuds The Rock was involved in from about 1999 to 2002 that never did really reach a point of finality. And I think that having The Rock and Brock Lesnar rumored to be a match at WrestleMania 29 is the first step in having all of this come into fruition. Along with The Rock and Brock Lesnar, you guys have always made great predictions for WrestleMania, and you've made additional predictions for WrestleMania 29 that I would also go for. The Stone Cold Steve Austin CM Punk match is a match I would go for. The straight edge superstar facing the toughest SOB in the WWE. Mass Kane versus The Undertaker is another prediction you guys have made. The Undertaker and John Cena. And of course, the highest probability match of happening on the WrestleMania 29 card, The Rock and John Cena Part 2. But there are also some suggestions that throw a curveball into The Rock and John Cena's match. And I'm hoping that some of your suggestions do fuck up The Rock and John Cena match Part 2, because I don't want to see The Rock and John Cena be the focal point of WrestleMania for the 3rd year in a row. What I want to see the WWE